there's a lot of opportunity in Philadelphia. And the great surprise for me as we researched this, and hopefully the good news for you, is that there are a lot of ideas out there, a lot of great ideas, a lot of people who've been thinking about ways to improve Philadelphia and the region as a whole for many years, if not decades. So there are a lot of experts out there that you'll stumble upon who can talk to you, I'm sure, about your individual projects, and studies to cite, maps, future visions of Philadelphia that are out there, and it would probably be very helpful to you. So we talked to dozens of people as we put together the ideas, and we researched also what other cities have done. So when David says about borrowing these ideas, of course, we've borrowed many ourselves. Hopefully that's just the nature of global civic improvement. And I'll go through the ideas, and hopefully they'll help you, inspire you, and how to present your ideas and put them together and get through your research process. Of course, our packaging is for the magazine reader, so it's a little bit more consumer-focused than academic, which you'll see as we go through the ideas, but hopefully they can still help. So as I said, all of our ideas aren't original or even brand new, but we did try to think about problems and even the new ideas in a new way. And the Ferris wheel, erecting a Ferris wheel at Penn's Landing is the first one. Penn's Landing has been the subject, and the I-95, cutting that off from the rest of the city, has been talked about for years, and there have been, even through Penn practice, ideas about how to work around this. So we thought we'd just go with something simple and build a Ferris wheel down there. I know, and your challenge will be approaching how you can get your project done, and a little bit more practical than we had to be, of course. But I wanted to start the package off with something, think big. I have no idea, engineering-wise, if this is even achievable, but it was something to signal that we were just going to be bold, maybe even a little crazy, but that might be your way to work toward an idea that is practical, a practical application. We also, getting to number 2, become the healthiest region in the country, we talked to a lot of leaders in the region, because these are people who are, leading their own organizations, and they have a real stake in what happens here in the city and the region. So Dr. Altschuler at CHOP was kind enough to write this for us. So again, that just gets back to reaching out to the different leaders. And I found people are really happy to talk about their ideas and how to implement them. Number 3, open a Cineplex in Center City. This is a case of marrying, we started looking at Market East, which is a bit of a not so exciting place. And we also were thinking about a movie theater and how a Cineplex right in Center City would be great for the residents there. So we had those 2 separate ideas, and we were looking at them and put them together. Closed public libraries, it's meant to be jarring, of course, from a magazine perspective, but the argument here was really about right-sizing city services. And maybe many of you have come across, this has been written about a lot in statistics, that this current services that we have and the infrastructure we have was built for a much bigger population, but population has gone down in Philadelphia. Well, although the recent census now has reversed that, which is good news. But so right-sizing city services is something, not just the public libraries, but something that you might want to think about as you go forward in your own projects. Be proud of our city. This idea Meryl Levitz, who's president of the GPTMC, Greater Philadelphia Tourism Marketing Corp. They've done a great job at marketing our city to outsiders, to bring visitors here. So that's a case where I took her expertise and wanted her to think about, well, what about marketing Philadelphia to Philadelphians, since we often suffer from a younger brother syndrome to New York. And she wrote a nice piece, but really I think that the idea of thinking about how to present your idea to Philadelphians might be something you want to keep in mind as you develop your project. Of course, you have to please the people, I guess, who are ultimately judging it. But for the idea probably to be successful, that it would appeal to your average Philadelphian is a good thing. 6, tear down the gallery. So we go back to Market East. This, you know, the Market East has some architectural challenges. The gallery was built at a time, what this gets at is that the gallery was built at a time where having a mall was a big deal in the city, you know, as opposed to just being in the suburbs. But it's kind of closed off now to the streetscape and doesn't really invite what we think of as, you know, a good street level, city, civic minded development. But I think what I want to get at with this is that nothing should be above examination as you go forward and think about your own project and how you want to improve the region, that nothing is too sacred. Bring medical tourists here. Again, though this wasn't written by Dr. Altschuler, it was an idea that came from an interview with him, that CHOP is doing a lot to try to increase bringing medical tourists here. Of course, you hear about people going to Canada or Mexico for medical treatments, but that they would come to Philadelphia is a great financial boon for us. So, the airport. The next idea is stop waiting in line at the airport. And this was an idea about how to, you know, address the problems of crowding and delayed flights at Philadelphia. I think that the thing about this idea was that it's something that touches almost everyone. You could probably boil these ideas to 2 kinds. One, that you know, you're coming up with a project, and maybe if you told someone, they wouldn't get right away how that this would benefit them in their day-to-day life here. And then there's the other one, which is kind of a no-brainer, and they get right away, and that's this. Everybody flies in and out of the airport, and it probably has a horror story or 2 about circling. So, let's see, Reading Viaduct Park. This was an idea that actually is out there. There's a group of people who are advocating for this. Center City District just recommissioned recently, or commissioned another report about the viability of this, because with Highline Park in New York, if you're familiar with that, that's been a very popular idea. So this was more of a case we just wanted to remind people that this idea is out there and promote it. How about we try democracy in Philadelphia? This was written by a news commentator, Larry Menti. He's also one of our bloggers for the Philly Post, on our online daily site. And this was really about strengthening the Republican Party, that we, obviously in Philadelphia, the Democratic Party, the Democratic machine, has their say in what goes, and the Republican Party isn't as strong. So just this idea of what would happen if we did have a real 2-party system. And I think that, again, this is a way of looking at an idea that Philadelphia has always done things a certain way, and not being afraid to examine that as you go forward in your project. Sell the Pico building to Drexel. This actually was, the headline was sell the building, the Pico building to Penn until John Fry's appointment, so we thought that would sell a little bit better, having Drexel in the headline. But either way, there's been a lot written about the work that's been done at Penn and at Drexel to make West Philadelphia a better place to live. And we decided, okay, we'll just kind of drag all of you guys over east to help us out and prop us up a little bit, especially on West Market there. And yeah, sorry, I'll stop there. Here was another, Turn the Navy Yard into the Green Yard was another guest-written piece by somebody who knows about environmentally friendly policies and civic development, Natalia Olsen-Orteco. She wrote a smart piece for us. This is probably the most academic leaning of all the pieces, but it was also a way for us to get at the environmental, to get at the eco-friendly aspect into this piece. Rethink the row home. Again, not to keep beating this over the head, but again, looking at something that is very familiar and traditional and historic about Philadelphia and kind of turning it on its head and thinking about it in a new way. And that's really what we wanted to get at with this package, and I'm sure part of what you'll want to get at in this challenges as well. Make the Parkway the world's premier arts destination. This was another geographic, as we looked at Market East as a place to improve. We thought there's been a lot in the news about the Parkway, the Barnes is opening there, so we wanted to think about, okay, there's already this momentum there, so how about taking it to the next level? So I guess the lesson there is, you can't think too big. Legalize pot. Cheap media ploy for attention. But at its heart, it does get at kind of pushing for a more progressive city council, maybe. We'll see. This is also another idea that has already, celebrity chefs taking over public school cafeterias, that Mark Vetri has already been talking to schools about doing this in one school as a pilot program. So we just kind of wanted to promote that and push it even further. Don't stop at just one school, make it district-wide if we're really talking about improving, in this case, the city as a whole. Dub North Broad Street, the avenue of the